greetings, good evening. What's up? Okay. Figured I'd steal that one from days gone by and blow everybody's speakers up. Everybody listening live 10 minutes after the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast. West Coast is still trying to catch up. And some of us are just trying to put the pieces back together. And I mean that in actually the most humble sense possible. Welcome into the Shooter's Gallery, where everything is on the table and nothing is off the record. Live from Studio One, I am Fast Eddie Lane. Live from the Peach State, Mr. Shane Knowles.
Oh, how's it going, guys? 2 weeks of artillery and ammunition ready to fire here on the Shooter's Gallery.
Live from his own, from corner to corner, or live from corner to corner, or live from his own corner and going to another corner. Stan Grubb.
Always nice to be recognized and mentioned, but now when I'm in the corner and out of the corner, nobody puts Stan in the corner.
Oh, just like nobody counts Brian down, right?
That's right. That's right.
And nobody tells John Cena not to make Roger Goodell jokes on the stage at the ESPYs.
I'm telling you, that man's got a future if he decides to step away.
First off, thank you to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com as well as the radio app. And I don't know if you heard it Wednesday, last night on the To Be Determined show during the live broadcast. We have new affiliates on board. Like to say hello to everybody who is picking us up through Radio Shaker. Beyond Ringside, now a part of the RadioShaker.com family, as well as Streema.com, Streema. We are now each other's affiliates, and also from that vantage point, RadioGuide.fm, Radio Guide, now a part of the Beyond Ringside family. And we are very happy to be a part of their stations list up there. Took a look at some of the stations around the Southeast and wow, hello, hi there. We're the little guys out. Well, I can't say out of the Southeast when Stan's on the show because he's up in the Mid-Atlantic. But
technically, I'm the northernmost part of the Southeast.
Okay, we'll give you that one. Okay, that's cool. But also from there through TuneIn Radio, Ustream, and all the different sources. And hell, just listing the stations now is taking 25 minutes out of the first hour. Go figure. Got a lot to cover. Got a lot going on. Everything happening, of course, from the ESPYs last night to the draft this coming Tuesday on SmackDown. NASCAR making their move to New Hampshire this weekend. And I guess, which is almost becoming the norm, and I hate opening a show like this, but with all of the news coming in, unless you've been under a rock, kind of like I was for the last 10 hours, and just now still finding out details about what all's going on, our hearts and thoughts and prayers being lifted up to everybody affected by the atrocity which just took place in Nice, France. And I know I can say France if I want to. I prefer to say France this time. Leave me alone. Get her done. That's Larry the Cable Guy on helium. But in all sincerity, and you know me, I try to find a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But to everybody who, domestically and everybody internationally who has been affected by this, like I said, and that's the only word I can honestly bring to mind is atrocity. I mean, because of the way things went down. But yes, you are definitely in our thoughts, in our prayers, and our hearts go out in your direction for families, inner circles of friends to find peace during this very tragic time. Anybody want to add anything? Shane, your direction?
I saw that the death toll is already up to 77. It's terrible. I feel like nationwide, not just nationwide, global tragedy seems to be coming in way far too common. And, you know, it's a kind of a crazy question to ask, but when is enough going to be enough before we do our best efforts to, put our best foot forward and try to stop senseless acts of violence like this?
Stan?
You know, since 2001, our world has been forever changed. And these types of incidents are what used to be oddities, anomalies, exceptions to the rule. And now they're becoming commonplace. I don't understand exactly why France is becoming such a target. And more to the point, why anybody would want any kind of senseless act of violence or death. Depending on your stance on faith, I know what Eddie's is. Shane, I don't think I've ever had the conversation with you, but, you know, there are certain signs, certain things that are brought to light in the good book, in the Word, And not to be a doomsayer, but you have to recognize the writing on the wall when it's right in front of your face. And unfortunately, we're at a very dangerous time. If you haven't started to come to the realization that things are unfolding rapidly and at a daunting pace, then you need to look at your television screen for a few minutes and pay it the proper respect of recognizing what's happening in our world. Whether it's ISIS, whether it's the Orlando shootings, whether it's what just happened today. It hurts my heart to have to see these things happen and unfold, but they are leading one direction. And, it's time for those that have questions to start asking them and start getting them answered the right ways. And it's time for those that have thought only by pushing a button to start thinking of another option. That's my thought on it.
As we shift over into our natural topics, and like I said, as I'm trying to stay away from the news, just like I'm staying away from politics. For those who listened to TBD last night, I went on a very rare rant. And for those who know me, neither side is safe. I'm not a huge fan of either side. That's just me. So, like I said, if you want to go back, if you feel brave enough to listen to TBD last night, you better grab those seatbelts and pull them on tight. That's all I'm going to say. I love a comment that was made, or an article that has been put out, and it's just recently really been getting its traction. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been declared the highest paid actor by Forbes Celebrity 100 as of this week. The former WWE champion has brought in $64.5 million in the 15 years since The Mummy Returns. Rock first appeared on the list in 2012 and is now ranked number 19. Since first appearing in the Fast series since 2011, Rock has starred in 7 movies that have grossed more than $100 million. Rock, of course, took to Instagram to comment on the honor, and, of course, in traditional Dwayne Johnson style, he was actually quite humble in the way that he took to it, and that is one of the things that I genuinely respect about Dwayne, because he knows when to turn it on, he knows when to turn it off, and that is why I will sit back and say, no matter what, Dwayne Johnson, when it comes to working a camera and working the microphone, he is genuinely one of the best of all time. Shane, your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw, I believe last year, Dwayne Johnson, if he wasn't top, he was in the top 4 or 5 on the Forbes discussion of actors. So I knew he had been trending upward on that list. But something that Stan mentioned in pre-production before we went on the air was about John Cena hosting the ESPYs last night. Did a phenomenal job. Anyone that knows me sometimes knows I'm not a fan of the way Super Cena, the character, is booked. That doesn't take anything away from the man. He has tremendous comic timing. And did you guys get the opportunity last month to check out the skit on the Maya and Martin show, Maya Rudolph and Martin Short, where they did a spoof of the People versus O.J. Simpson, where John Cena did a absolutely dead-on Hulk Hogan impression?
Did not see that.
Auditioning co-stars for his next sex tape.
I mean, when he was talking to the girl and he said, "Let me tell you something, sister, brother," I lost it.
It was pretty
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, he talks about you're going to have Hulkasm after Hulkasm after Hulkasm. Yeah, he was just tremendous in the part went to Martin Short. But even then, I think with Trainwreck, the movie with Amy Schumer, this was about Dwayne Johnson, but I was going to bring this up about Cena anyway. But yeah, with the Trainwreck with Amy Schumer last summer, had the cameo in the movie Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and now, with the ESPYs and that skit. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for Cena, and that's something I wanted to ask you guys in tonight's program is, a lot of people say John would never do that, leave the WWE and go for greener pastures because he loves wrestling. Well, Dwayne Johnson loves wrestling. I mean, he was born and bred in a family of professional wrestling. He loves it. He also understood opportunity. And, Cena, maybe he's a different cat. I get it. But I think the platforms are becoming out there, the opportunities for him, should he want to do it. And I can't help but wonder, he's somewhere in that, 36 to 38 years old range, and with all the changing and evolving in the business, maybe not take a full-time leave like The Rock, but I think the roster's in good hands now with the draft coming up and a lot of NXT call-ups, the Cruiserweight Classic division thing they've got going on, the tournament. If he were to want to, branch out more into Hollywood, I think the opportunity's there.
Stan Grubb.
I think John Cena has a heck of a future ahead of him no matter where he goes. When you look at The Rock and his success in the box office, it really does stem from a versatility that he showed very early on when The Rock was first born, really, as, the character The Rock. Showing just a lot of charisma and a lot of ability to work with just about everybody he was in the ring with. Now you see him in movies. He can do comedy. He can do serious. He can do
the
action
Tooth Fairy.
star. What's that?
But he can't do the Tooth Fairy.
Well, everybody has their
Limits.
Suburban Commando. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And Hulk Hogan's is Mr. Nanny. Hey.
I thought that Hulk Hogan as an actor in some of the films he was in, aside from No Holds Barred, because it was basically Hulk Hogan. It's the Hulk Hogan movie, you know what I mean? But I want to say that Hogan, as far as acting, he did well. It was at a time where wrestling was only tongue-in-cheek for him, and they weren't going to give him the Mummy, you know what I mean? They weren't going to give him a serious role. So he made the best of what he had, and he made his money. I think that with The Rock, we've seen somebody that was initially tongue-in-cheek with The Mummy Returns, and The Scorpion King. They didn't want to take him seriously, but they didn't have a choice because he was very serious about it. He wanted to be successful, and he's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's going to make money at the box office regardless of who you put him with. Kevin Hart's a pretty good choice.
You know what movie really opened my eyes on Dwayne Johnson as far as acting chops was when he was in the Be Cool, the sequel to Get Shorty. I thought he had such good comic timing.
Be Cool was good. I thought his role in the Gridiron Gang was good.
Agreed on that one. And, of course, by the same token, does anybody think, other than me, that he's kind of pigeonholed himself just a little bit when he played Roadblock?
I thought it was smart. Might as well take advantage of a good franchise when you can.
Yeah, but no, look at it. He's done Roadblock in 2 movies, then he turned around and did The Cop in Fast and Furious, which is a similar mindset character.
I'm just glad he was able to escape Doom.
Oh, God, yes.
I guess I'm in the minority when I say I liked Doom.
I wasn't a big fan. It was cute, but that was about it. It's kind of like sparklers on the 4th of July when you're over the age of 6.
Oh, wow. And the first hollow point goes to damn.
I'm like saying, I kind of like sparklers.
I'd like to congratulate Shane on his 6th birthday. And
thank you, sir.
Not a
7
problem.
is coming up in September.
Hey, there you go. Actually, you're going to have a feeling you're going to have a present Saturday night. We're going to talk about that in depth in a few minutes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if you didn't listen last night, oh boy. Let's just say...
I did miss it.
Huh?
I did miss TBD yesterday evening, so there's a gift that I am not privy to.
Oh, by the way, you proved that mine and Wick's crystal ball did short circuit yesterday because we both had a prediction that you were going to call in.
Oh.
So I've sent mine back to Abco Rents.
Well, I can't bombard every program with TBD. You got to let Wicked have his own moment.
Oh, believe me, he gets that moment. Oh, boy, the bar was open, but I think the bar was down in Acapulco. I'll leave it at that. I was going to say Colombia, but that has too many connotations. I'm going to leave that alone. No, but, we recently talked about wrestlers and sports entertainers that had made their way into the small screen and the big screen. And, when I just had one thought really cross my mind, and yes, it's dying of loneliness. But I'm going to say it before it can't be resuscitated. Based on everything that's happened, and if you remember the original going into rock mode promo that Dwayne cut, does anybody now think that the Die Rocky Die sign when he was Rocky Maivia was a planted sign to give him a basis point for the promo. Because remember, after the big kaboom and Rocky Maivia went and The Rock was born, he referenced that sign, Die Rocky Die. And I think they found their hinge point to where they could give him something to sink his chops into. And remember, it worked. And the rest of that is like, okay, I equate Die Rocky Die, that monologue, to Austin 3:16. It was the turning point for those characters. And it's rare when you get, I mean, it's like Hogan had to do a complete physical swerve. Hogan just didn't lay out one line and become Hollywood. Hogan had to do a physical swerve. Whereas with Austin 3:16, that was purely verbal, that was heat of the moment, that was it. Die Rocky Die, that night, that monologue, heat of the moment, that was it. No physicality involved. But now that I think about it, the more I think about it, the more I honestly think that the Die Rocky Die sign was actually a plant from creative to give everybody something to see and point at when he referenced it so he could sink his chops into it and run with it. Agree, disagree, or your thoughts, Shane?
I never thought about that being a planted catchphrase or a movement to give him something to sink his chops into. Well, it is pro wrestling, so I know you never say never as far as discrediting a conspiracy theory or something lying underneath the surface. But, it's been a while since I went back and watched that period of when The Rock, Dwayne Johnson debuted Rocky Maivia. But to me, I mean, if there's something the Federation planted, kudos to them. But boy, did it sure seem organic. It was a complete 180 of the Daniel Bryan yes chance.
Yeah. Stan?
I'm not normally a tinfoil hat wearing kind of guy. I gotta say that while I'm suspect of everything being a plant or a work, I don't think so. I think that was just how it happened. And when somebody pointed it out to him that they saw it on television, and I'm sure somebody took note of it, or maybe he just is the one that saw it and brought it up. I don't think it was a plant, but would it surprise me if we find out somewhere down the line that it was? I guess not so much.
I don't think we'd ever find out if it genuinely was or not, because I think by this point in time it's so far gone from everybody else's imaginations and remembrances to where it's like everybody can sit back and go, no, it was real. Oh, and by the way, let me go ahead and do this. Yes, I like sparklers too. And in the words of Bugs Bunny, I'm only 3.5 years old. So there. It's been one of those. I've had every one of the today at the day job. For those who know what that is, I'm sorry. I think I ran through about 60 different voices during the 42nd anniversary party today, and 3 plates of homemade nachos and slider sandwiches and everything. I think I just put back 8 pounds that I had lost.
Don't sleep on the boiled shrimp on the buffet.
They didn't put that on there this year, at least not before I'd left. And actually, no, the last 2 years, the 40 and 41st anniversary parties, they've had like the jumbo peel and eats out there. And it's like, oh yeah, here we go. The fat man's in heaven. You just gave me a blank check to shrimp heaven. And they didn't do it this year, you B.A.tards.
The fat man is in heaven. Oh my God.
Well, dude, remember, I'm 5'7" 3/4", depending. Okay, I'm gonna steal I'm doing the entire freaking blue comedy run tonight. Blue collar comedy. I'm somewhere between 5'7" and 5'8.5", depending on what convenience store I'm coming out of. Thank you, Ron White, for the inspiration for that line. And I do clock in around 243. My doctor says I need to lose 55 pounds. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't saw Cindy in half, therefore I'd get rid of part of the problem. But
oh wow!
We'll get you started on the Shane Knowles Playboy Buddy Rose blowaway guy, Eddie. Details.
Actually, here's the funny part about this. I have renewed my intensity as far as staying away from sodas. I've cut down my caffeine intake in a huge way. Today, well, like I say, earlier this week, and I'm giving everybody the update here. I'm being honest about this. For the most part of the week, I've eaten steamed or properly prepared vegetables. I've eaten salads. I've had no burgers, no junk food, no pizza. I had organic baked popcorn earlier today. That was from a company that I've heard of. And then, like I said, I kind of fell down off the wagon for a little while when they came in and set up the buffet. And they were doing gourmet nachos, baked chicken nachos, as well as slider sandwiches. And yeah, I kind of jumped off the wagon for a minute. And also, for those who know me, you'll be surprised to find out. And most of you who know me very well won't be. But for those of you who know me in a passing manner, I've had actually one alcoholic beverage in the last 2.5 weeks. So I'm being serious. I mean,
well, hey, when Roman Reigns comes back, you have a reason to drink another. I was here to help, buddy.
I got 2 weeks on that one. I ain't got to worry about crap yet.
Eddie can get a 6-pack of O'Doul's and some sparklers.
No, he's probably a Coors Cutter kind of guy.
And the second hollow point of the night goes to... And by the way, I'd like to give a very special thank you to Bass Pro Shops for sending me their flyer and letting me know what rifles are on sale this week that I can't afford. F off.
Damn. Eddie
Bass
is
Pro
in
Shops, your
happy
adventure
mood tonight.
starts here.
They always send me Bass Pro Shops and a company that I like to buy equipment for the studio and the radio rig, BSW. They always send me the sale flyers when I can't buy a damn thing. Seriously, it works out that way every time. I have the money, everything's full price. Okay, fine, I'm going to wait a couple of weeks. Something comes up, boom, there goes my money. Hey, we're going to put it on sale just for you. You assholes. But that's the way my life goes sometimes. See, you should have let me win the Mega Millions. I'd have been fine. I'd have still been bitching just as much, but I'd have been fine.
I love the Shooters Gallery because in one paragraph, we just went from the 42nd anniversary party of Eddie's day job with no boiled Pillineek shrimp into sparklers, a 6-pack of O'Doul's, his diet plan, as well as railroading against Bass Pro Shop sales papers.
Because they always send me the stuff when I'm broke, you B-words. That ends with fecal matter. So I'm going to leave that alone. Now, I'm going to keep that fecal matter reference for a hot second, and I know we've only got a couple of minutes left in this particular segment, but I want to go ahead and lay this one out there. With the official announcement having been made that Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton will be facing each other at SummerSlam, can we safely assume that they will be on the same brand? Or is this match just being made for pure PR purposes to where it can be a possible crossover match? Shane?
You know, that's something I'd thought of, Eddie. I was like, with only one match promoted in advance for SummerSlam, is this one where the draft is not going to matter? You know, as far as like this is already a designated match signed to take place before the brand extension split, whatnot. I don't think it matters. Wherever Randy Orton and or Brock Lesnar wind up, if it's on the same brand or separate, I think this is probably just one of those matches they're just going to do in advance. And kudos to them because I think it's kind of cool. Randy Orton, does anyone know the last time he competed in a WWE ring?
Not right off the top of my head, Stan.
Oh, goodness. He hurt his shoulder in October. So he's been out since that point.
That's almost 10 months.
I was going to say 10 months. And, you know, I just had a feeling it was going to be Orton when they were like, we're going to announce his opponent because, okay, you know, obviously there's nothing storyline-wise with Brock going on per se right now. So who would you do? And I thought that makes perfect sense, a guy on the shelf. And if Orton and Lesnar, I mean, it would be, 2002, 2001 since they worked each other? That's been quite a while. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm curious to see the dynamics of this. They've long ago given up the Lesnar as the heel. I mean, he hasn't changed like Eddie was talking about with 316 and organic things. I mean, it just became overnight, seemingly, he and Paul Heyman, the respect factor. We like him. He's legit. He gets the adulations of the crowd. I'm curious to see how Randy Orton will be booked in said match, babyface or heel. I think, and also is Orton going to do some TV, to build up this match? I would think you'd have to. You can't just say Randy Orton's coming back a month and a half in advance and let that be it. But I think Orton would have to be kind of a sly heel in this. I mean, he tweeted, after Lesnar's UFC victory, congratulations, look forward to seeing you at SummerSlam, et cetera, et cetera. I'm curious you guys' thoughts on that. And if I'm Orton, I would take the sly heel thing, congrats on beating Mark Hunt or whatnot. But, try to put over himself as the youngest world champion in company history or whatnot, et cetera. I mean, here's the pigeonhole thing to me, guys. Now that Brock Lesnar has come back into UFC and beat a top 10 heavyweight after 5 years off in the bout with diverticulitis and whatnot, how do you ever, ever, ever book him to lose cleanly in a WWE ring again?
That was my next one.
Challenge.
That was my next one.
Oh, I was going to say, as big a star as Randy Orton is, no offense to Mr. Third Generation, he's not on the same planet as Brock Lesnar right now. And it's going to be cool because that's Orton's first match in 10 months, and certainly we haven't seen he and Lesnar in, say, 14, 15 years against each other in a WWE ring. But to make Randy Orton seem a very viable contender, they've got their work cut out for them, and I look forward to seeing where they go.
Stan Grubb.
When it comes to Randy Orton, I'm pretty outspoken about not being a big fan of his. Work-wise, wrestling-wise, I think that he's a guy like Randy Orton to me is a dime a dozen. I don't see him as all that different. Now, it doesn't mean he's not talented. It doesn't mean he can't go. But I think putting him in a matchup as high profile as this with Brock Lesnar could be a mistake. Not because he's not healthy enough to go, but because the style that Brock Lesnar is known for could potentially re-injure that shoulder, which would be the shortest comeback in the history of professional wrestling.
Kimura.
There's your first German suplex. There's your stretcher.
Kimura.
I think that when it comes down to it, though, who else do you put Brock in the ring with right now that would make sense? And there really isn't a whole lot of guys. To Shane's credit, he doesn't have a storyline right now. He really doesn't have anybody he's been feuding with, and thank God they're not going to do the Big Show again. So, when you look at it, Randy Orton's not a bad decision. Again, I hope his health is up to par. I hope he's able to hang with Brock Lesnar in that regard. Cardiovascular-wise, I don't think I've ever seen Randy Orton blown up, so I don't think we'd have to worry about that. On the other hand, Brock Lesnar, he tends to blow up within about 5 minutes. But that seems to be working to his benefit because when he does, he slows down and it makes it even better. So the match itself, yeah, it's a good deal. Who do you put in the ring with Brock after this? And can Brock lose in WWE and still be considered credible? Yeah, I would say the answer to that question is no. You can't book him to lose. As long as he's on this streak in UFC and as long as he is successful in that realm, his return has got to be a successful one. I guess you'd say his return at SummerSlam. It's got to be a successful one against the returning Randy Orton as well.
Folks, hang tight. We're going to go to the bottom of the hour break. This discussion will continue in just a moment. You're listening to the Shooters Gallery on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
The product David Starr, also a man of many nicknames, including your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, the cream in your coffee. I've also been called Davey Wrestling from time to time. I'm the 104-minute man, the Jewish canon. You get the picture. I'm really, really awesome. You're listening to ProWrestlingRadio.net.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find the Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clive Braddock, and the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Hey, radio fans, this is the King of the Southeast, Francisco Chiazzo. Hashtag Supreme Slambino. Hashtag Measuring Stick. You are locked in to Back to Basics, Beyond Ringside Radio.
And even though it's a different show, thank you to the King of the Southeast, Francisco Chiazzo, for that break. I'll get that one straightened out. Always a pleasure. For those who caught Back to Basics earlier this week on Tuesday night, actually, had the privilege having the King of the Southeast, Francisco Chiazzo, the AIWF America's Champion. Also, like I said, a longtime friend and colleague in this industry, and he's in the process of getting things finalized for appearances tomorrow night. And I'll go ahead and say this. This is Thursday the 14th as we are live. So Friday the 15th and Saturday the 16th with Arcadian Wrestling. Get a chance to check it out. Like I said, the replay is on the station, and I'm going to have the Beyondcast loaded for Back to Basics, both hours before the end of this 14th day of July, if it kills me. Okay, it'll probably be about 2 o'clock in the morning on the 15th day, but who cares? Welcome back into the Shooters Gallery. Fast Eddie Lanes, Shane Knowles, Stan Grubb. I'm going to go ahead and pick up where we left off, because I'm going to go ahead and take over on the commentary about Randy Orton. Look, from my personal perspective, and this is a straight shoot, there are times when Randy Orton is excellent. There are times when Randy Orton is beyond vanilla. There are times when Randy Orton is like the Energizer Bunny because his attitude helps carry him through matches. There are times when Randy Orton is a Q-tip swab because there's nothing there. And, I mean, it's like we're talking about Captain Chinlock here, a person who was decried for the longest time from the internet wrestling community and a lot of the people in this business for the length of time that he ran with that chinlock. Oh, it's a 20-minute chinlock. It's a Randy Orton match. Orton, over the years, has gotten much better to a great degree, depending on who he's working. Now, here's my thing. They bill Orton Lesnar now with a month and a half to play with. That's a good thing. Brand split or no brand split, the match is going to take place. I'm okay with that. There is no chance in hell that we have a pinfall or submission at SummerSlam between these two. For Randy Orton and the much heralded return, you cannot make the Viper, the Apex Predator, look weak. Coming 5 weeks off of a win that so many people, myself included, didn't think that Lesnar would get, and doing it in a strong way. Dumping Mark Hunt, the number 10 ranked heavyweight in the UFC, single leg and double leg takedowns, 3 of them in the first round, 2 of them in the third round. Now remember, Hunt did look good in round 2. He found his footing. And that, like I said, my original prediction was Hunt in 2. And it would have been the round. But guess what? Didn't happen. But after the performance that Lesnar gave in rounds 1 and 3, coming off that fight, 29-27 unanimous decision, you cannot have him lose to Randy Orton. You have a stalemate, psychologically speaking, on this one. The only thing that you can do is find a way to let tempers flare. Okay, first meeting in over a decade between these two. That's great and wonderful. I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. But in my personal opinion, from the playbook of Lane, no way either man goes over clean. Orton comes back. He has no allies. He has no club. He has no faction. It's him. Lesnar has no club, has no allies, has no faction. There is no chance that either man goes over clean at SummerSlam. There's no way we have a decision at SummerSlam. I'm banking on the fact that it's just going to go out and out, throw the match out, no contest, and we come back and do it again in 1 month, and the match is even bigger than the anticipation for the SummerSlam match. Either of y'all want to take umbrage or agree or disagree, Shane?
To make Vince will do what's best for business, I would do that. Yes, Night of Champions or whatever follows up SummerSlam, if they still do that in September, I believe. Yeah, I would do that to make a feud out of it, to make good return business. But I'm going to take the opinion that, I don't know, I think Vince McMahon may, and I hope he doesn't do this, but I could see Randy Orton being in the same shoes John Cena was 2 years ago, that this could be an exhibition showcase for Brock Lesnar to WWE ring to put him over even stronger, coming off that UFC win to just make him look like even more of a beast incarnate. I could so see them doing that, not saying I agree that they should, but if you do that, if you destroy the Apex Predator Randy Orton, what does it do for him going forward? And 2, does Lesnar really need that much more of a rub?
Stan Grubb.
Here's what I would do from the pages of Corner to Corner. I would go the opposite direction. If I'm going to do a finish for this match at SummerSlam, instead of doing the easily predictable Weaselly heel turn by Randy Orton with a sharp kick to the nuts or chair shot or something silly like that.
Oh, like they tried to do with Taker.
I have the solution. Here's how you make Brock Lesnar continue to look strong, to quote Vince McMahon. And you have Randy Orton come out looking like an empathetic hero. Brock Lesnar goes heel, decks the ref, decks Randy Orton, F5s him on a table, and walks away. I'm too good for this. I don't need to be here. I've already proved that I'm better than everybody here. Randy Orton, you're beneath me. And there's your Clash of the Champions. I think that's what the rumored title for the September pay-per-view or event is called.
If they bring back Clash of the Champions, I'm going to barf.
Why? Why?
They already bought.
They better be on Wednesday nights at 8:05.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
That would be funny. On the network.
But they got to bring Tony Schiavone in to say, we got to go.
Tony Schiavone, Scott Hudson, Bob Caudle. Hell, I'll even take David Crockett for a minute. That's it. That's all. That's all you.
It's got to be from the Scope Center in Norfolk, Virginia, too.
Wait a minute. Remember, Clash 1, Charlotte Coliseum.
True.
45. Yeah. Time limit draw. Patty Mullen, playmate of the. How do we get the dumbest judges in history for a damn for a world title match from the NWA? How is Jason?
Was Jason Hervey a judge that night?
Yes, he was. Your three judges. No, your three judges were Patty Mullen, playmate, Penthouse Pet of the Year, Penthouse Pet, Jason Hervey from the freaking Wonder Years, and Sandy Scott, NWA official.
Hey, you can thank Missy Hyatt for the Jason Hervey hookup. At that point, they were dating.
I don't care. I sat back and I said, well, let's see. Jason Hervey is obviously going to vote for Sting. Patty Mullen's going to vote for Flair. Woo! And Sandy Scott is probably going to go ahead and call it a draw. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Bob Caudle with the final decision. We have a draw. I'm going to shoot somebody. I'm dead serious.
Well, you can't have
made Sting that night.
That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
Sting was a made
Sting
man.
Sting was a main star after that. That's
Huge.
a good point.
Well, Sting was a solid star before that match because he had the popularity off the Chizart. Plain and simple. Because remember, when he was in UWF, Mid-South Sports, Bill Watts promotion, and it was he and Rick Steiner.
Oh, yeah.
As part of Hot Stuff International with Eddie Gilbert and Missy Hyatt. Steiner and Sting were getting pops from the crowd. It didn't matter if they were facing Ted DiBiase and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Excuse me. It didn't matter if it was Ted DiBiase and Terry Taylor, Doc and Terry, the Freebirds, Devastation Incorporated, Iceman King Parsons, and Savannah Jack. How's that for memory, kids?
Ooh, Iceman King Parsons.
I miss Parsons and Savannah Jack. I thought they were cool as hell in the UWF. It didn't even matter if it was Gary Young and, Steve, the Missouri Wildcat. Come on.
Steve, Missouri Wildcat. That was Steve Simpson?
No, Steve Simpson was South Africa.
That's right. I'm sorry. Got it mixed up.
World Class Championship Wrestling.
My bad. Sorry, y'all.
I can't remember. Oh, God.
While you're delving into that Iceman real quick, I've got to mention at the Mid-Atlantic Legends Fest in Charlotte, they have added Jeannie Clark, better known as Lady Blossom, who, to my knowledge, has not done any wrestling convention and fest ever. You remember back with gentlemen Chris Adams all the way into Steve Austin. That's going to be a sight to see.
My first Wrestling Valley crush aside from Elizabeth.
Don't laugh. Miss Linda. The exotic.
I'm laughing because she said, don't laugh.
I thought, look, with all due respect to Adrian and Linda, I thought Linda was cool as hell.
Oh, yeah.
And I will sit back and say this. If the opportunity arises, I know Adrian's got a documentary being made. If we have the opportunity to get the exotic Adrian Street on this show, I would definitely open up the door in the blink of an eye. But, so let there be no doubt. And folks, real quick, as time progresses, I know we've been a little bit lax about it here on Shooters Gallery, but there are opportunities where we will be bringing in guests down the road because this is something that really came to light on Tuesday night. And I was asked this question. I was asked about, and here we go with the college football reference again. This is why so many teams from the East are in the top 10. No, we do not have a legitimate East Coast bias. Legit. No, seriously, we don't. We're just all based in the East. There are a number of people that we've spoken about that are based in the Mountain and Pacific time zones that are actually, there's a couple that I'm talking to about coming on down a little bit down the road, schedules permitting. And also because of the fact that we are this late on the eastern side in the eastern and central time zones, we have to take into consideration sometimes that the Pacific and Mountain time zones have to catch up. So whereas we're getting ready for, the stroke of midnight over here, lo and behold, they're still in prime time on the West Coast. So it's a matter of timing. It's a matter of tagging and getting everything in place. But yeah, we don't really have that East Coast bias in place. It just sounds like we do. And if it comes across that way, we're sorry. Just like, okay, even though Stan has now put the state of Virginia into the northernmost tip of the Confederacy, or the South.
Well, I mean, it was. I'm sorry.
I know it.
Don't mean to ruffle no feathers or nothing.
I don't think I've
Belong to
ever
a
heard it
certain
called the
secret
northern
society.
tip of the Confederacy.
I believe I belong to a certain society. I don't have to name y'all.
I do declare, Mr. Grubb.
Issue is, or issue isn't my constituents.
Oh, you just gave me the consummate. I would like to go back, I believe, to 1978, and I'm old enough to do this, as I take my glasses off and feather back my long, dark hair, throw out my arms, and go, this is my place, and these are my people. These are the sweat hogs. John Travolta in the role of Vinnie Barbarino on Welcome Back, Kotter. God love you.
Wow.
Add that to the checklist of stuff we've talked about.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Ooh. Let's see. John Travolta, Robert Hedges, Ron Palillo, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs,
Jake Kaplan.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Sorry.
I was going to save him for last. Julie Strassman and Gabe Kaplan, and I cannot remember the gentleman who played the principal.
What do you see? Is she going to die? You're going to crack up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the classic television for me is just a godsend, because that's why I have all these DVD sets over here in Studio One. And I have a new edition that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later, as, of course, all guests do appear courtesy of the Corona Extra Hotline this evening. Special hello to one of my new best friends, Mr. Michael Jackson, who is my Corona rep for the fluorescent and neon signs that are going up in Studio One.
I was going to say, I don't think Michael Jackson is with us anymore, but you're speaking about another guy.
Yes, I am. And go figure, he actually changed his name to Mike Jackson, which I refuse to say on this show.
I was about to say, the MJ that's in close proximity to Studio One.
He does. He's not that far from here. But
Arkadelphia Road, baby.
I know, 23 minutes. That's why I always drive 25 and go one step past. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Shane will let me hear about this the next time we work together.
Well, I've got a good story about that with the Fan Fest during the next commercial break. It's going to pop it. So.
Oh, God. Hey, let me show you this videotape right here. It's from 1986. I went 45 minutes with somebody. It was Papa Smurf. Everybody else wants to do a 50-50. I want to do a 60-40.
Just one more ticket, guys.
Say what?
Just one more ticket, guys.
Yeah, no, just one more. That's all I need. Trying to figure which voice is easier to do. That voice right there. Okay. What up, Dan? I will officially be killed on the 30th of July when I walk into the Pell City Civic Center now. But there's a lot of ground to cover on that one, too. Okay.
International House of Pancakes. Pain is what I meant to say.
Yeah, really.
Sorry.
I have a question that I want to lay out there. With the match having been formed for Battleground with John Cena, Enzo, and Cass getting ready to take on the Club at Battleground, and the draft being Tuesday night, what if Enzo and Cass go to SmackDown as Cena stays on Raw? Will the match be broken up, or are they actually counting on that to make sure that everybody knows that John Cena has no friends? Shane?
It's kind of like Lesnar and Orton. We're getting to the point where the draft is at a funny time. Looking at it now, I would have done it the Monday after Battleground, just so nothing would be announced in advance and make it a whole lot easier on the WWE Universe. But I wonder about that stuff. Enzo and Cass, Dudley Boys, New Day, the Wyatts. Are they going to split up tag teams or factions?
Stan Grubb.
God, I hope not. Biggest mistake they can make right now is to start splitting up teams, splitting up factions, just to prove that they can get somebody else over. That's one of the biggest mistakes they made when they split the Dudleys, split the Hardys. Now, granted, for the Hardys at least, it served as a great launching point for both guys. But, well, I mean, Matt Hardy did pretty well as a single superstar.
Even
U.S. champion, Cruiserweight champion, ECW champion. I mean, I thought he did all right. Plus, his feud with Edge was pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, that was.
Jeff Hardy, of course. You've got the Intercontinental title when he was in the tag team still. But, of course, the world title when he finally broke through. In retrospect, splitting that team wasn't a bad move. But now when your tag team base is so flush with just good, talented teams, you can't split teams up. You just can't do it. It would be a huge mistake if they were to say Enzo and Cass.
You know what's even going to be funnier is if they put Charlotte on one brand and Dana Brooke on the other. Ooh, there goes her insurance policy. How quickly will she kiss Dad's ass? Oh, and by the way, great to see Rick last. Okay, here's the thing. No, I did not watch the ESPYs. Early this morning, Mike and Mike showed John Cena's monologue. That is how I know. For those who know me, I stuck by my promise, nor will I watch any of the replays of the ESPYs. We've had that discussion here on Shooter's Gallery. I do not, I'm sorry. And don't even get me started about the show open.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. We're not doing politics this week. Sorry.
I watched one 20-minute segment that I thought was very deserving of my time, and that was the Jim Valvano Award to sideline reporter Craig Sager.
Oh, God, yes.
His speech was phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, Eddie, it is on YouTube.
I saw it on Mike and Mike.
Okay. Yeah, I know one of the funniest things when he's talking about thanks to sports, he's been able to jump out of a plane in Kansas. He's wrestled alligators down in Florida. And he's interviewed Greg Popovich on the sideline with the Spurs down 10 in the second quarter.
Yeah, I know. I heard that and I popped like a big dog. Yeah. And I always have to say this because there are some people, and you notice, by the way, NBC has a new young lady who will be gunning the sidelines for Sunday Night Football. Michelle Tafoya will not be there this year.
Did not know that.
I found that out this morning. Lo and behold, and I will never forget the one particular interview that Peyton Manning did pregame was about 2 years ago. He was asked what his plans were for the evening. He said, "My plans are to win this game and my plans are to be the first person that Michelle Tafoya interviews at the end of this game." I'm sitting back going, "That's the quiet way of saying I'm going to win, buzzards." And he didn't say follow the buzzards. Which leads me to this.
Segue.
The Compound. That was classic. I'm not going to use the word epic because it's been running the effing ground so much over the last 2 years. Daryl B, what's up, brother? Chat room. The Compound was epic. That was a fight that was old school, that was traditional. I'm not going to say it was Southern, Northern, Eastern, Western, European, I'm a peon, we a peon, doesn't matter. Red beans, black beans, turnip greens, butter beans, doesn't matter. That was just pure. I loved it. That showed a side of the New Day that has been lacking for all the fun and games that are out there, which I'm cool with. Those who know me, those who've listened to these products on this station and on this network, know the fact, yeah, didn't give New Day much of a chance in hell when they first started. And they became entertaining, and I became a fan. But that Compound fight, loved it. I don't think it should have gone much longer. It probably could have gone a minute or two at the most. Not much longer. Shorter? No, not in the least. I think it was pretty much timed out. Like I said, maybe a minute or two longer. They could have squeezed a little bit more in there. But they had that so nicely done. And I'm going to build on that by saying this. I agree with the assessment that there is no comparison between the Wyatt New Day situation, the Compound, and the Final Deletion. I do not compare the two. Two totally different scenarios. Matt Hardy's just lost his freaking mind. And I'm still trying to figure out why the hell he wants to put the Seth Rollins, Micah Taylor blonde stripe in his hair. Just
Swinging Todd.
say what?
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, that too. Good point. But the final deletion for me, like I said, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Anybody who watched that, any normal human male who looked at that and didn't get a rush out of the fact that they were shooting Roman candle rapid fires at each other? Look, that's every kid's dream. To have a genuine fireworks battle, it doesn't matter if it's your family. It can be your friend. It can be your mortal enemy. The fact that Jeff Hardy was holding up the damn trash can lid to deflect. The fact that Matt Hardy hid behind the boat. Come on. It was
a dilapidated boat.
Yeah, I know. It's the dilapidated boat. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I cannot and will not compare the two because, yeah, I started to say something about that during the break, and I was very quickly reminded of something, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I judge and form opinions based on their own merit, and between the two of them, each of them made for great television. Shane.
Oh, wow. The final deletion. Where to begin on this? Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, I'm torn in so many ways, so bear with me. I want to say kudos to the both of them, because anyone who thinks Matt and Jeff Hardy are just taking a paycheck with TNA Wrestling and not invested or thinking things up creatively, they're not. That was so far out of the box. That 17-minute, and yes, it was 17 minutes long, the final deletion, and some change. That reminded me of the Ric Flair in the Insane Asylum, WCW days, as well as the Cactus Jack Lost in Cleveland vignettes, just for pure, I'm going to quote the late Jack Buck, I can't believe what I just saw. Yeah. That was an almost mini-movie, like the little shorts that would come on before the Who Framed Roger Rabbit film.
Right.
Stuff like that. It was entertaining, and TNA got its highest rating on Pop TV off of that, so something worked. I mean, they need a buzz in the worst way, and if it's people looking at it comically, laughing, scratching, shaking their heads, at least it got people talking, something TNA desperately needs so badly. And I mean, at the same time, though, when I got done watching it, I was a combination of mortified and entertained, but I also wondered, does that make me want to attend their live events? Does that make me want to watch when they do an actual pay-per-view? But as far as for TNA Impact, it definitely makes me want to tune in and see, the aftermath when Matt spoke about it. I mean, it's two people that have made their name in the WWE, as well as in TNA. So I think that's one thing that it has going for them. I mean, no disrespect, but if you did this with, say, Rockstar Spud and I'm not Eric Young, I'm trying to think of the gentleman, Davey Richards. If you did it with those two guys and did the same script, I don't think people would have the same buzz. But Matt and Jeff Hardy are still household names to the pro wrestling audience, and I think that helped get it over. But just the whole deal, it seemed like such a B horror movie aspect to it, or like actually with the finishing deal with the whole cross and everything, I had images conjured up of the Arnold Schwarzenegger film Red Sonja with Bridget Nielsen.
Wow.
That kind of schlock, going on.
Wait a minute, I thought Red Sonja.
Where do they go from here? That's the crazy thing, because my favorite moment was the almost Scooby-Doo-ish part of subduing Jeff into the water, and he comes back out in full Willow regale to attack Matt. I thought that was beautifully done. The compound, for completely different reasons, yeah, that was strong. I mean, when's the last time you saw wrestling maneuvers taking place in a mud puddle? It was different, and I agree with you, Eddie. It showed a different side to New Day, because for all the videos and the comical and, Francesca, the trombone, they still are pro wrestlers. They need to be taken seriously. And, you're in here with the Wyatts, a faction that, does have that whole cult following type. I mean, you couldn't just really play it comically. Two completely different, and I'm like you, for a lot of people who say WWE ripped off TNA. No, they didn't. They did a vignette, but I mean, it wasn't the final deletion. I just, going back to this whole thing with the Hardys, with him going to the house, it's really made the phrase "Brother Nero, I knew you'd come" a part of our lexicon, or at least around where I am. People that that are wrestling fans, they quote that stuff every day, all day at work, and I'm like, wow, is that catching on like Austin 316 in a completely different realm? But I don't know. I mean, for TNA, they need the jolt, they need the spark. Dear God, they're moving another night, which I think is good for them back on Thursdays. That's when I enjoyed Impact the most, when it was on Spike TV in the Thursday night capacity. But, I just don't know where they go from here. I mean, because especially when you use the words final deletion in something, I know they're already transitioning into, you can no longer use the Hardy name, and is he going to go back to Willow or whatnot? But I feel like I've rambled enough. But I was entertained by both segments for completely different reasons. And I'd like to see more things like that in pro wrestling. It had, especially the final deletion, like I spoke of with the Cactus Jack and the Flair, it had some of that 80s, 90s feel to it. But, with WWE, that compounded, we haven't seen a whole lot of vignettes in the last few years. You used to get them all the time on Superstars about someone was coming or introducing, someone, or God knows when Glacier was teased for 9 months, and Kevin Nash even said, when's he getting here? But, I'm all for more stuff like that shows people in a different realm outside the squared circle.
Stan Grubb.
Well,
Better yet,
gosh,
do me a favor. Hold on. We're at 7 after the hour. I can either go ahead and give you 90 seconds on this side of the hour, or I can go ahead and take the break and let you do it after the top of the hour.
Well, I got tons to say on the matter, so let's take a break and come on back.
Okay, then let me go ahead and do it like this. Folks, for those who are catching this replay, now, okay, we are live 7 minutes after 11 Central Time on July the 14th. For those who catch this replay on YouTube, remember, we only put up the first hour. You can catch the entire episode through the Beyondcast feeds as well as over at BeyondRingside.com and all of our affiliates. So once again, if you're catching YouTube, Daily Motion, Facebook video, thank you very much. We want to thank you for tuning in that way. For everybody catching us on the live side, hour 1 is in the books. Going to kick off hour 2 on the Shooters Gallery in just a moment. This is the Shooters Gallery, live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy Rave, and you're listening to the only Jimmy Rave approved radio show. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.